Beyonce, Oprah, and Kamala Harris, all of them were mentioned by the president in a social media post filled with accusations, and all are now targets of online threats fueled by Trump and his supporters. CNN's Brian Stelter breaks it down for us.
An incredible weekend. She closed out her Cowboy Carter tour with a sold-out performance in Las Vegas, gaining lots of positive headlines and, of course, many viral videos from the show. But then there was also this headline about Beyonce, not exactly a positive one, in some ways an absurd one. This is a fact check from CNN's Daniel Dale of a totally made-up claim from President Trump about Beyonce. Quote, Trump calls to prosecute Beyonce based on a non-existent $11 million payment. And non-existent is the key word here. The president seemingly telling everyone how he wants his Justice Department to behave, pointing to prominent celebrities, all liberals, and saying they should be prosecuted. The only thing Trump is missing is any actual crime. There's no evidence of a crime here, but he's calling out Beyonce, Oprah Winfrey, and Al Sharpton for their support of his rival last year, then Vice President Kamala Harris. This is the continuation of a narrative that Trump has pushed for months. The difference now is that he's actually using the word prosecute. So let's take a look at the Beyonce case in a little more detail. This is from Daniel Dale's check over the weekend. He says that the Trump claim is that Democrats, quote, admit to paying, probably illegally, $11 million to singer Beyonce for an endorsement from Harris. Now, the actual little nugget of truth here is that Beyonce's production company was paid $165,000 from the Harris campaign for the work putting on a rally last fall. So, a small amount of money that was conflated by right-wing message boards and memes last fall into a $10 million payment. That idea of a $10 million payment was made up, and now Trump has inflated it even further to $11 million. Again, that small payment to the production company, that's not unusual. But for Trump's followers, this post is a little bit of a verbal form of his vow to gain retribution against his perceived enemies. In another example over the weekend, Trump railed against American TV networks, saying, quote, networks aren't allowed to be political pawns for the Democrat Party. It has become so outrageous that, in my opinion, their licenses could and should be revoked. Now, TV station licensing has always been a nonpartisan, apolitical affair in the United States. Now, even if Trump's loyalists who oversee licensing wanted to revoke licenses from NBC or ABC or CBS, it would take a very long time and it would get tied up in the courts. But even though Trump isn't getting what he wants in these cases, he's not getting Beyonce behind bars or NBC off the airwaves, it is still concerning to free speech and free press advocates to know that those are the ideas that he is sharing with his followers potentially softens the ground for more autocratic actions in the future. Brian Stelter, CNN.
While President Trump is abroad, he's still managing to stir up another distraction here at home. This week, he's setting his sights on Beyonce. In a social media post over the weekend, the president falsely claimed Beyonce was paid $11 million for her endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. And he wrote, quote, they should all be prosecuted. There's no record or evidence presented by the president or anyone else of multi-million-dollar payments for Beyonce's appearance at a Houston rally last October. The campaign did, however, pay $165,000 for production-related expenses for the event, and paying for endorsements is also legal. But a campaign's got to disclose it. And the Harris campaign only recorded one kind of payment in that style for $75,000 to the League of Conservation Voters Action Fund last June. Beyonce not losing her breath by all of this, pulling off a surprise appearance with her former Destiny's Child co-stars at the final show of the Cowboy Carter tour in Las Vegas this weekend. Group chat is back. I have to say, there's been a long list of things that have been a deterrent from the Epstein story, and this one is the most. You're nodding. Is that how you see it as well?
Yeah, it's a distraction, but at the same time, I think there are a couple of things going on here. The first one is it almost feels like whenever somebody else is in the headlines, the president tries to besmirch their moment in the spotlight because it's almost like they're competing with him for attention. So even in a golf trip to Scotland over the weekend, he's trying to dominate the headlines back
That's
home.
a good point, because it was the final stop of the tour. The ladies come out, Blue Ivy comes out, it's Vegas. It was like spectacle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to me, I think that it's obviously kind of funny, right? You see a Truth Social post from the President of the United States talking about Beyonce, et cetera. But at the other level, it's another in a long line of free speech infringements, right? Because the point of a lot of this is to indicate that if you are not totally in line with this president, he will use the power of the bully pulpit. He will even threaten actions which are not legal to silence you or to make you afraid, to make you raise lawyer legal costs. Like, Beyonce is fine. She's a billionaire.
Yeah.
She'll be fine. But regular people are realizing that this is going to apply to everyone. And if people like, I mean, we just talked about the EU trade deal a little
Yeah.
bit, but like, if the EU is capitulating on tariffs at 15%, I mean, who is going to fight back?
And we should say back in May, he talks about this, frankly, periodically, one of the cyclical gripes. Back in May, he mentioned also Oprah and Bono, and saying he's going to call a major investigation into this matter. Of course, he famously was bickering over Bruce Springsteen earlier this year. Is this just about picking, the competitive targets in the attention economy, or what Jerusalem is saying?
Well, there's also something deep-seated about Trump and the elites rejecting him, right? And the fact that he was never accepted before he had all of this power by a certain segment of the entertainment and business elite. So the fact that now he feels like, he's at this good place and he can throw these threats around, it feels like a lot more of that. In addition, I think everybody can be right on this. I think there are lots of things going on here.
I do want to ask about the president's new fight with Beyonce, which seems important to the president, because Pete, he did post on Truth Social, "I'm looking at the large amount of money owed by the Democrats after the presidential election and the fact they admit to paying probably illegally $11 million to Beyonce for an endorsement." Okay, this never happened. By the way, the Democratic Party and the Harris campaign had to pay for some production costs for an event with Beyonce, but there's no $11 million payment for an endorsement there. Yet he is suggesting it, Pete. Well, he clearly wants a public fight with Beyonce for some reason. Why?
Well, he's itching with a fight for anyone or with anyone if he thinks it can score some political points, potentially distract from other issues, not suggesting he's trying to distract from the Epstein case, because this is just Donald Trump. This is what he does late in the evening. He posts on Truth Social, whatever is on his mind. But some of that is why his supporters love him so much. Whatever is in his head comes out of his mouth or through his fingers on Truth Social. They know what he's thinking at any given moment, and obviously this was on his mind.
I have to say, this is the president at this point greeting the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer as the Prime Minister arrives at Turnberry at one of the president's golf courses here. Bakari, as we watch this, I just want to give you a chance to comment on the Beyonce post.
No, I was hoping that you would put up pictures of yourself, probably in some sequins and a cowboy hat, showing your just respect for Cowboy Carter. I was hoping that you went to the concert, the last one. Destiny's Child even came out at her last concert. A whole group came out. And, she just put on an amazing show. I think that Donald Trump just picks on people to try to distract from the Epstein files. But nobody can really mess with the Queen. And I hope that you went to see Cowboy Carter full and in person. You and Pete both probably should have went to that concert.
I have to tell you, I have not had a chance to go. Tickets are hard to get, Bakari, but if I did, I would absolutely be bedazzled. It's the only way to go. Bakari Sellers, Pete Seat, thanks to both of you for being here this morning. Appreciate it.